Hello, once again. And this is actually a pretty special devlog, believe it or not, because this devlog, for one thing, custom title. Still a work in progress, of course. I got rid of all the stars in the background. I don't know if I'm keeping that. I might re-add them, but in a different way. I might try to change the color of the background or some shit. I don't know. It'll be something. It'll be something cool. But yes, custom little title right up there. You got the shadow particles on the title, and my name right there and the version number, whatever. But yes, what's special about this devlog is that right down in the description, you can now finally get yourself the demo of this mod. It contains all of World 2 and 3, and a couple bonuses that I will not show in the devlog, but you can find them if you tinker. We're just gonna skip over World 2 because pretty much nothing of substance has changed in World 2. So we're gonna skip straight to World 3. I did read through the books in the previous devlog, 2.5, but I figure I might as well read them again because we will be covering new stuff in World 3. Tim could no longer remember the exact day his shadow left him behind. They told him they were off on a search. Before he could ask what for, they were already long past gone. Now Tim wonders if they will ever come back, or if they even found what they were looking for. Perhaps they got lost. For far too long, Tim remained cold and calculating. When faced with a great predicament, he shunted his emotions aside and mentally scouted the path ahead with clarity and precision, only opening doors when he knew with absolute certainty that progress lay behind them. But to make the mind wander ahead of the body is an incomplete measure. Thought alone may sculpt your perspective, and your hands may wield the tools, but only in totality can you chisel reality to your liking. Body and mind must work in tandem, lest they be confined by the limitations of their disconnected realms. And yet, Tim believed that he could keep his body-mind severed, each independent half performing the same task to vastly different results. Through this, he believed they could manipulate the non-manipulable. Tim grabs his keys to leave the castle. Only then does he hear the front door unlock from the outside. Standing beyond the threshold is his shadow, soaked from the rain, holding the very same keys. So, nothing's changed in the pit, so we're just gonna do that quickly. Same solution as always, it's the pit combined with Fragile Companion. Do It For Me has not changed either, as far as I can tell, so we're just gonna skip it outright. Unfazed, however, has changed significantly. The second puzzle with the cloud conveyor belts that Tim cannot outrun is now the first puzzle in the area. So we'll solve that the same way. We just have Tim run in place for a little bit. He can't make it under the block. He can't make it under the block because the clouds move too fast for him to outrun them. The only way he would be able to outrun them is jumping, but because this block is in the way, he has literally no headroom to jump, so he can't do it. So you have to send the Shadow to do it, because for some reason, Shadow Tim just completely ignores the fact that these clouds are moving, because they're purple. Shadow Tim just treats these like a solid platform that's not moving at all. So if this is the first puzzle in Unfazed now, what the hell is the second puzzle? Well, it's not too dissimilar from what the puzzle that was ultimately removed or changed or replaced with that other puzzle is. But it actually incorporates another set of purple clouds. I think it fits the title of the level better. This one's a bit different though, because we have keys, we have key doors, there's our Fragile Companion setup over there, but we have the extra purple key, and these clouds actually move slightly slower. So what are we supposed to do about this one? Well, we take advantage of the fact that Tim is able to get a foothold in here. Tim, once again, ignores that the clouds are moving and is able to outrun them far more than regular Tim can, meaning Shadow Tim is able to unlock his version of this door without it breaking the green key, which means we get to reuse it. And then for some reason, still, you're able to pick up the purple key. Somehow purple keys take priority over green keys. I still don't know why that is, but it works. Technically, I could slightly tweak this puzzle such that Shadow Tim cannot actually drop down to bring the purple key down. You have to make him, like, stop before he reaches this door and turn around and sorry, not Shadow Tim. Tom, that's what we called him. Tom has to be the one to unlock this normal door up here. I think I had it set up like that at one point, but I just figured it was just a bit too meh, because you'd have to properly time running along the clouds, grabbing the key, and turning around. You'd have to figure out how to record that. And I figured that was cumbersome, so just you only have to record Tom running to the right with the key in hand, so that he's able to bring the shadow key down with you, and then of course we open the two doors with one key, as per usual. Shadow Out of Time has also not changed. The one thing that is a bit meh about this is that you technically... Actually, that's not true. I was about to say you need to solve part of the first puzzle piece just to get through. Like if you wanted to save this puzzle piece for later. But that's wrong. You could literally just hit the switch immediately, and the Goomba will get the key for you. Nice and simple. I already showed how this puzzle works in the previous devlog, so I will not solve it again. So we're just gonna skip right on ahead past it and go to the actual first new puzzle, Tingles. So I did in fact complete the other 4 puzzles. They are demo ready. I'm not entirely satisfied with them, as usual, but I think they are worthy of being played in a demo before I potentially upload them. Anyway, so this is Tingles. Why is it called that? Because this is the level that introduces the glowing platforms that Tim can stand on and rewind time without him being uprooted from his position like he normally is when he rewinds time. You bring the platform down, but there's a permanent switch, and there's no shadow shenanigans we can use to make the platform go back up, so we have to stand on it and reverse it like that. And now this puzzle setup should look a bit familiar, because this kind of setup, ignoring the additional key door and the glowing platform being involved, is very similar to the... Let's just call it the second puzzle piece in the unnamed 3rd level of World 5 that has the Shadow Bunny that was commented on, I believe, in Anniversary Edition. Joey Blowy, John Blowy, whatever other names I can use to make fun of Jonathan Blow. He comments that he had to cheat a bit with how this particular bunny, or this particular kind of bunny, worked in that puzzle so that it wouldn't crawl out of the hole. So I took advantage of that for this puzzle. So what do we actually do here? You can go and grab the key and unlock the door, which would bring the bunny to the other side, so we would be able to run through. We're not able to actually go through the door from this side, or really either side. Only the bunny can go through, because the wood kind of extends down a little bit. So it's just It's just too short for us, but it's short enough. But it's just enough space for the bunny to come through. Yeah, but we're not able to go through there, and the only way to get out of that pit is through rewinding, and nothing there is shadowy. So what do we do about that? Well, actually, I might as well just do it from here. Get on this platform for a bit. And then we unlock the door. And we undo ourselves doing that. But then, once we're on the platform, without letting go of the time rewinding mechanics, we now actually send time forward. And it will replay everything we did that we rewound, except we're not actually over there. So the key just unlocks the door by itself without us having to be over there. And now we're not stuck in the pit anymore. So now we can solve the rest of the puzzle. And then the rest of the puzzle is pretty much just identical to the solution to that one World 5 puzzle. Send our shadow down to distract the bunny so he gets pulled over there. And then in the original puzzle, there's a ladder here, so you don't have to bounce off the bunny, but I figured it'd be funny if you're required to do that. Well, there you go. That's how you get that puzzle piece. Just gonna rewind for a while, because we need to get the key back, because we need to unlock these doors. Pretty much the only reason these doors are here is so that you cannot take this key with you back out of that way and use it to cheese the first puzzle. And this puzzle might look familiar. Not necessarily this specific puzzle, but this layout, this puzzle layout, might look very familiar to those who have played the Now More Than Ever mod, because this is literally just the swapper. That's the title of the puzzle. In the Now More Than Ever mod, this is actually the final puzzle of World 5 in that mod. And the solution is pretty much identical. I figured this is the level that introduces the glowy floor mechanic and some of the level geometry that already existed from what this level used to be. It was too perfect not to do it. It's a very good tutorial for the interesting interactions between the shadow timeline mechanic and these glowing platforms. So what do you do here? You get the key, but you do not have any room to jump to, open the door without breaking the key. So what exactly do you do here? Well, if you run forward, and then you rewind that, because we're standing on a green platform and we rewound whatever we did, Tom will do whatever we rewound, but from the position that we're now standing at on the glowy platform. So we basically just transposed the actions that we recorded further to the right, so he's able to actually unlock the door. But then what do you do about those two doors? Because normally you'd be able to do the fragile companion setup. You'd be able to jump. You'd think that you'd have to jump to unlock the first door, but the problem is, if you do that, it won't actually unlock the door. Because when you leap off of one of these glowy platforms, you are still glowing green for a little bit. So when you try to rewind, Tim will just keep going forward, and the door will not unlock. And if you tried to stop yourself from rewinding during that, I think you'd actually end up just breaking the thing. So you have to take advantage of the combination of the mechanics again and do this. Like that. You're just transposed a jump. And now we can unlock the second door for free. Perfectly fine. Look at that. It's beautiful. Oh boy. Now we move on to Escort. which I believe has some of the hardest puzzles in the mod so far. I would genuinely say that at least 2 out of... maybe not. We'll have to see. So these are very tricky. And it's a bit difficult to figure out which one I want to do first, so let's do this one first. The weird thing about this puzzle is that there's actually not as much taking advantage of the shadow mechanic in this one, as much as there is taking advantage of the green stuff. But I think there's nonetheless some pretty good puzzles in this. So the reason this is called escort is because you have to do a lot of escorting different things. That purple Goomba is gonna get launched across. I don't know why. I don't know why physics causes Tom to bunt this guy so far and bonk into that wall over there. But, that's what happens. It works. So now we just, we're gonna give him the tour. And by extension, we're giving you the tour as well. So it's just a whole chain of bunts. Also, there's a cloud platform over there. That wasn't in this level before. I am very happy that it somehow worked out that we need to bring back Cloud to make this puzzle work. Yeah, there's clouds here. That used to be a fireball cannon in the original level. Also, funny purple painting. No actual puzzles involving the painting, of course, because, you know, that's only in the World 2 painting, and also the secret stars don't work in mods. So, it's purely just a place to put the portrait. This is basically where the portrait was in the original game, except this platform was a bit lower. And that was a fireball cannon, but now it's clouds. It's a whole line of clouds at a very specific speed. Because if we run all the way back over here... Oh yeah, the puzzle piece we're trying to go after is that one up there. How the hell do we reach it, though? We could jump off the Goomba we just put by the painting to get up on the clouds. But then we wouldn't be able to reach the thing, so clearly we need to get another Goomba up there. And we can't venture over here ourselves because that's too high. Oops. I'm dead. So we need this guy, clearly. Can be a bit tricky, but we get him over. And he walks across. And, oh. It's the treadmill problem. Well, not to worry, because we can just rewind time, and because that guy is green, he will just be carried across the clouds that are getting reversed through time, so he's now set up in the right spot. Meaning we can now venture over here, where the second Goomba is, and get ourselves the puzzle piece. And now I'm gonna rewind all the way back to when it's over here, because now we're going to make an attempt at this puzzle that has the funny glowing blocks. There's 2 of them here. We're gonna rewind all the way back to the beginning of time. A magical time traveling journey. Going all the way back. So that little sliding platform there with the 2 racing platforms is down. Now, the original version of this level from the original game, that platform on the right would also be moving on its own, and the whole point was that you had to not reverse time in order to allow it to beat the sliding platform up. But that's not how it works here. Instead, it moves by that switch underneath the piranha plant pipe. Oh. We need to give ourselves more time. So go over there, we hit the switch, and then we go back forward, and now it's moving. And the reason we had to do it that way is so that we could actually catch up with it in order to do this. Yeah. And the reason you have to send Tom down there is because since the lower platform is glowing, if you were to attempt to jump on that platform and hit the switch yourself, you would find that you are now glowing, which means you cannot rewind back up to on top of this platform that Tim is currently standing on to actually get the puzzle piece. It just doesn't work. And unfortunately, in the current state of the puzzle, you would in fact have to cloud exit to... you would have to open the menu and escape back to the cloud hub to reset the puzzle, because you'd be stuck. That's an unfortunate consequence of using this particular puzzle mechanic, the glowing platforms. It can cause... They're not exactly soft locks, since you are able to quit out of the level back to the hub and then just re-enter them like nothing happened. But it is still... I don't like making puzzles that require you to take advantage of cloud exit, nor ones that require you to cloud exit if you get soft locked. I don't like having soft locks, or trapping situation is the better word for it, really, because a soft lock would imply that like you physically cannot exit out. But in any case, that's why you have to send Tom to hit the switch for you, and then you can get the piece. And then of course there's one more. There's one more piece in this level, down in the underground section. And I'm not going to worry about killing the bunnies. In the original game, this is a situation you'd have to worry about. The bunnies all covering up the hole here. But you don't have to worry about that in this one, because I just made the puzzle piece down here also glow green. So this one, it's kind of a combination of things. There is a green glowing thing on top of this locked door, and there's also a Goomba to escort. So why don't we, escort him. Oh. Like that. And then we can get this key. So the reason we need a Goomba over there is we need him to get a key down in the lower area. But how do we get him through? Because if we unlock this door, we now don't have another key that we need to unlock this door. So what do we do? Well, we specifically unlock the door like that, bounce off the Goomba, and then rewind time to when the key was being dropped down, and now we have the key again. We can unlock the door, and there's 3 doors over here, a purple one, a green one, and a normal one. And you got these green piranha plants and a wall that does not let the player go through, so we have to send the Goomba through, and it's just a matter of properly timing the Goomba coming through while the piranha plants are doing their thing. He gets the green key, all is well in the land of Foo, and now we can rewind back up. We need to do that, because we need both of these keys in order to unlock those 3 doors down there. Oh, shoot. I was not meant to do that. The key's not supposed to be in my hand right now. Oops. Well, I unfortunately screwed that up a little bit, so be right back. And now I do it right. Okay, so had to rewind it such that I am not holding the purple key, which will allow me to pick up the green key and use it in the way that I want to. Because now we can just send Tom to open both of these doors for us. I can't use the green key on this door, because if we were to do that, we would have one more door we need to unlock, and this one's in the way. I think, theoretically, you could... Oh, wait, no, you couldn't. I was about to say, if you kept the Goomba alive, you'd be able to jump over him at this point, after having unlocked that door with this key, and then take the purple key down. But the problem with that is that this locked door is still in the way. So anyway, you use the green key to unlock these two purple doors, and then use it to unlock this door, so you can finally take the purple key through... Oh! If you'd managed to rewind the purple key in a specific way, such that it lands on top of the key door, or is even down here, and somehow the Goomba doesn't pick it up, I guess you would be able to do the alternate solution, but this just works the way it does. It works out. And then you can get the puzzle piece. Look at that. Perfect. Nothing suspicious about that area, of course. Now we can let us get the fuck out of here. Just gonna rewind to the beginning of time, so all these bunnies are out of the way. Now we can leave. We've gotten all 3 puzzle pieces in escort. We've done all the escorting we need. Now it's off to the lair. How the hell do we make a new puzzle out of lair? Well, this is actually a lair for 2. I wonder what that entails. There's a glowing platform. And there's 2 bosses. 1 purple and 1 green. And the joke with that whole setup is, in order to make the purple guy wake up while you're actually in the spot you need to be to make the chandeliers fall down, you have to get on the glowing platform, and then wake up the purple guy, and then rewind back, and then send time forward again, so that he'll be woken up while you're standing on the glowing platform, and now we can use the chandeliers. And from here, it is pretty much both the World 3 and World 5 boss fights from the original game, but they're happening at the same time. There's a little more to it than that, but... you know. We've done the thing. We've killed both bosses in the way that you're supposed to. But, we have 3 doors to unlock. How do we resolve that? Well, go down here, we get the normal key. This Banoi will come up, and we'll be able to unlock this door and this door. But now we can't get out. And if we rewind, these doors will lock back behind us. Not a problem, though, because we can just rewind back to before we even fought the boss. And then forward time again to fight the boss again. And unlock the doors. So now the doors are all unlocked, and we're up here. And we can make the chandeliers fall for the hell of it, because why not? And now we can just get the green key that way and unlock the last door. Beautiful. I was considering, in this one, to actually tweak the puzzle piece setup for World 3, such that you would only have these 2 doors. Actually... never mind, that wouldn't even work. I was gonna have it set up that you would only have these 2 doors to unlock. And then the third one... oh, yeah, those 2 doors to unlock, and then the level exit is like here. And then up here, there's the 3rd locked door, and behind that is a puzzle piece. But This just works better, I think. And then finally a firewall, because I realized, hey, I haven't used fireball cannons yet. Why don't we introduce those in this level? So now we have a bunch of fireball cannons. This is the most recent one that I made, and this is the one I'm kind of least satisfied with overall in World 3. But it still works. It is a serviceable set of puzzles. Particularly the second one. This first one, I think, in particular, is lame. It's a bit lame. But, hey, it does introduce the fireballs. We got a fireball cannon there. There's no sweat. I wanted to originally have that block be lower down, so that you're forced to time it correctly to pass through the fireballs. You wouldn't be able to jump over them. But the problem with that is if I did that, then this platform wouldn't be able to slide over, and I kind of wanted that platform there to retain a bit of the original version of this level, and because you need it for the second it's just whatever. So, let's attend the fireball gauntlet. Ow. To get through this corridor, gotta take advantage of the glowing platforms. We cannot jump in here because the ceiling is too low, so we have to take advantage of the glowing platform to get the fireballs to get out of the way. And now we have two opposing fireballs. One of them is green, which means that something time shenanigans, it can just pass straight through us without killing us and kill the other platform. You can skip that one and start up that platform. Now, how do we get the puzzle piece? We need to bash the fireballs into each other. So maybe we do something like that. The problem is, if we do it just any old way, like that or something, the shadow of the green fireball will kill the purple fireball, and it'll fuck up the timing. So, we gotta get the fireballs to collide in a certain spot. Around there is probably fine. Not my favorite puzzle, honestly. But I'm not entirely sure how I'd want to revise it. But once that's happened, we can pass through all that, and then rewind our way out of this whole mess. We do now need to go back through this corridor the opposite way. That's fine. We're gonna leap off of that. Normally, this door slides down on its own and closes by the time we're able to get over here, unless you're a speedrunner and you manage to beat it. But this time, it's closed from the start. We gotta open it with the lever down there. Very similar to how a door like this from all the way back at the second level of this world was changed. And you have this insane setup that is also insanely loud, so be sure your volume is turned down when you play through this mod, in general, but also especially for this bit. A crap ton of fireball cannons, and the rarely used bunny cannon. Because in the original game, this is the one and only level that has a cannon that spawns bunnies. And I figured this puzzle, it actually works out nicely to use a bunny cannon as an actual part of the puzzle. So how do we take advantage of this? This platform will move and block the cannons, but it doesn't block them for long enough for the bunny to make it through, let alone for us to make it through, because we need to make it through that. So we send the shadow platform forward first to block the purple fireballs, and then we send the real one, and it basically makes a double wide platform to shield us from the fireballs. And we can head through, throw the switch, but oh, wait, how the hell do we take advantage of that? Oh, we just go back to the beginning of time again. And then send it forwards. It's the same thing. It's a bit of a It's a bit of an anticlimax. A bit of an anticlimax to the world. There might be a way to make it a more interesting puzzle that I have yet to think of. But, there we go. The puzzle, the real puzzle was remembering to do this at the start, so you don't look like a fool. But, yeah, that's World 3. And that is technically all that is available in the mod, combined with the other stuff that I didn't show because I hadn't changed it from the previous devlogs. That is 2 worlds. Or that is you know what I mean. Because this is the demo version, I have blocked access to the rest of the game with a key door. Not that it really matters, because if you were to run the game with the editor and no package and whatever parameter, you'd be able to use the bracket keys like I can. To skip through stuff. And who knows, maybe if you do that in the demo, you might find a couple extra things to toy around with. I won't say what they are, because they're for worlds that come later, but they're there. So now I guess it's time just for reflections, as usual, reflecting on puzzle design. So the only ones that change from the first 4 levels of World 3 was unfazed, and then there was the other levels. So pretty happy with how I managed to change this one. I think both of them involving these purple conveyor belts of clouds is very fitting of its name and of its wordplay, calling it unfazed when the original was called phased. You know. And then this one, obviously there's still the potential tweak I could make here, but I think having it like this is ultimately better for the player, because it means you don't have to... It's a lot more forgiving this way, I think. I am curious how I might adapt this for a World 6 puzzle, considering that this format with the clouds, or that pretty much this level in its entirety, the original version at least, is reused in World 6, but with some things tweaked so that you're required to use the slowdown ring. I wonder how that's going to play out in this level, or will I have to create a whole new puzzle? We'll have to see. And of course that level didn't change at all, so tingles. I am very, very happy with this first puzzle. It's pretty simple, and it's basically just taking a puzzle from the original game and tweaking it into also being a glowing platform tutorial. But I think it works very well as that. And then of course, oh, whoops, forgot to get the key. No, don't need to do that, because we can just do that. Bracket keys. And then of course this puzzle being pretty much ripped straight from Now More Than Ever. Not the most original, but again, I think it's a pretty good showcase and tutorial of these mechanics, of how the shadow stuff interacts, or how the shadow timeline mechanic interacts with the glowing platform. I think something I realize is that taking advantage of this mechanic in this particular way isn't really used all that much in the rest of the world, like I thought I was going to. I kind of ended up being more about the whole, you stand on the platform, you rewind everything, and then you send it forward again to redo everything you did, but from a different position. Kind of became more about that on a lot of these puzzles than about the mechanic that this puzzle here teaches. Perhaps, then, I should take more advantage of this mechanic in the later worlds when I have more tools at my disposal. I don't think I'd be able to do that in World 4 because As I discovered, playing through more now than ever, the mechanic where the flow of time is based on what direction you're moving, how that interacts with the glowing platforms is very jank. That whole mechanic in general, the time equals X mechanic, shall we say, is already very jank. Hence why the final level in that world is called Fickle Companion. But, combined with this, it gets a bit weird, and I don't know if I'd really want to take advantage of that combination. We'll see, though. We'll see. And then, of course, Escort. This one was pretty tricky to... I wasn't sure how exactly to handle this going into it. I didn't know whether to gut the original geometry of a lot of these parts and just try to make wholly new puzzles, but I guess just through tinkering around with stuff, experimenting, I realized that there were ways for me to pretty easily adapt the original layout to have new puzzles. Like just taking some of these platforms that move on their own and giving them a switch. Also, funny little thing about that switch up there, the purple switch that's sitting, it looks like a ledge, but that ledge is actually just a background object. There's no actual collision on that ledge. I'm pretty sure the game has a thing that you are only allowed to hit switches if you are standing on solid ground, which includes platforms. So I'd like to think that thanks to that setup up there, where it just looks like it's sitting on a piece of the background, just so it's not looking like it's floating in midair, the only way you're allowed to hit the switch is if you're on a platform. So I think that makes the... I think that prevents an exploit. I don't quite remember. I still don't know why the physics work out the way they do. I guess just physics between the shadow timeline and the normal timeline are a bit different. I don't know how to describe it, but that's just what happens. I am very, very happy that I was able to take advantage of clouds in this one, because I feel like clouds don't really get a whole lot of love in the original game when you really think about it. Like, there's levels that are dedicated to them, but they don't really feel integrated into a bigger puzzle with more moving pieces. They're usually just, this is a puzzle that just has clouds in it. And it makes sense. They're a bit tricky to use as a puzzle element. It's just a cannon that just generates floating platforms continuously. That can be tricky to work with, but I think I found a way to take advantage of it here. So I'm really glad that this worked out. And then of course, the puzzle down here is a bit whack. I feel like the ways that the shadow timeline are used in this puzzle in particular, and kind of just most of this level in particular, Escort as a whole, they're very superficial uses of the shadow timeline. They're basically just there to facilitate making stuff move in ways that they otherwise wouldn't. And considering this is the world that introduces the green glowing stuff that is immune to time rewinding, a lot of that stuff, you can facilitate their movement in a very similar way to the shadow timeline. It's effectively just doing the same thing in a slightly different way. Like even with just the two Goombas there. With this one, the reason that guy can get bunted without you dying is because you have Tom, and here, the only reason you can bunt this guy is just because he's immune to getting time rewound, but Tim is not. They're not that different. They're really not that different when you think about it. But it works out. I think it makes for an interesting puzzle. And, you know, even though this is Shadows of Tim, and the whole point is that every level in the game has the shadow timeline mechanic, I don't think it detracts too much to have a couple puzzles here and there that don't take advantage of the shadow mechanic as much as others. I think that's fine, especially if you're trying to introduce new stuff. Sometimes it could be nice to break things up a little bit, to give the main mechanic a bit of a breather and let some other mechanics have a bit of time to shine. But, what's that? Lair is strange. Life is strange. Lamau. This one's kind of eh. I'm fine with how I managed to tweak this to not just involve two bosses, the two different bosses from the original game that are both in the same lair, and also require a little bit of extra effort and taking advantage of the glowing platform and all that. It's still a bit weird. Also, for some reason, the bosses slide around the room before they've woken up. I don't know what causes that. I would very much like to fix that, so when you come in, it's just the two of them sleeping next to each other. That's gay. Anyway, that would be neat to... It'd be nice if I could get that to actually work properly, so it actually looks properly a bit menacing. This puzzle is slightly inspired, actually, by another puzzle, another More Now Than Ever mod puzzle. And that one, it was pretty much the same... It was nearly the same kind of puzzle, except it had 3 bosses. The glowing green one, the glowing purple one, and then a normal one that only had 2 horns, that only had 2 health points. So you'd have to kill the green one and the purple one without letting the regular chandeliers die, and then save the normal boss for the very end and have to use both chandeliers on it. It's whack. That's what this was slightly inspired by. I think I made it work. It is a bit whack. But, I don't know. I have to see what other people think about it. And then, of course, Firewall. Again, this is the most recent one that was made. I literally made, or completed, at the very least, the second part of the area yesterday. Not my favorite. I guess there's a reason I hadn't used fireball cannons up until this level, because they're a bit boring to me. A little bit. They're just a thing that moves in a linear direction and it just kills things. Maybe I'm just not thinking with portals enough on that one. There's certainly some potential creative uses for fireballs that I have not taken advantage of yet. But this, for what this is, introducing stuff, it works. It works. One thing that's a bit funky is something you might have noticed with the clouds on Escort, but also especially the fireballs here, is that normally, we open the editor actually, normally in these types of levels there would actually be pre-placed fireballs floating in the air that are set to look like they came from these cannons, so it looks like these cannons were all running before you even entered the level. But, I haven't quite figured out how to get those to work properly without just copying them over. So, I'd have to double check on how to get that to work. The puzzle doesn't really break as far as I know, by the lack of those pre-placed things. Same with the clouds. But it would be nice to add those back in just to give a sense of, hey, this level has been existing, it's been alive and thriving before you even actually got to the area, and not that everything starts up the moment Tim enters the room. Owie. Just hit this again. Yeah. And then this puzzle just kind of... It's honestly kind of a joke. Like, it's decent, like, the actual solve is decent enough of having to, like, making a double-wide platform by using the shadow of that platform combined with the normal version to make an extra wide umbrella to shield you from the purple fireballs. It works out. It does work. It's not very difficult, though. The actual quote-unquote difficult part is literally just remembering that you need to do the rewind everything and then redo it again with the glowing platform gimmick to get this door to open. I don't know. There might be something I could do to make this a bit more of a puzzle. But it does work, and I'm glad I was able to use a bunny cannon, and a bunny cannon gets literally no love in the original game. It is literally only used in this level, in the normal game. And even then, it's literally just, the bunny cannon in the original game is like right down in this corner, and it just fires bunnies straight into the fire pit, and there's nothing to take advantage of there. So I figured it'd be nice to reincorporate some stuff on that front. I don't really know what else to talk about, though. Still not entirely confident that these storybooks have the final writing that I want them to have. Like, there's something. An attempt is made. I think there's something neat in these. I just don't know if this is what they're going to be by the time the fucking a million years later that this mod is actually complete. If it's ever complete. But yeah, I don't really know what else to talk about this time, because the main thing that is worth talking about in this, besides the new stuff, is the fact that you can actually download a playable version of this. And again, it has All World 2, it has All World 3, and it has a couple bonus stuff. But you gotta go digging for those. So that's really all I can think of to say. Shadows of Tim, version 0.3, a mod by me, Madeline Mache, aka Mache the Ferret. You can download it now. Huzzah. Goodbye.